Morning guys, and welcome back, and a happy new year to everybody. We have been away for quite a few weeks, so just before Christmas, about halfway through December, it was about the 10th, 11th, the wife decided that we were going on a road trip, and we actually ended up driving down to Africa, which wasn't the initial plan, but we had a good time nonetheless. Spent Christmas in Morocco and then sort of spent a week there, headed back into the south of Spain, did sort of New Year in the south of Spain, and we came home. But we're back now. I can't remember exactly where we're up to on the Ducato, so I think what I'm gonna do, I know there's some things that have happened in there that you guys definitely haven't seen, so we'll have a quick run through that and have a look, see where we're at, what we got left to do. So we've now got the two kitchens are both in, so this side's been done. That's going to be 3 drawers. This is going to be like a spice rack pull out, and then this is the kitchen cupboard where the sink is going to be. I've also got the controls for the electric step that are going to be mounted on the side here as well. I know you've seen this bit. I don't know if you've seen this bit. So I know the bulkhead was there, but that's all been built. We've got the inverter charger in, so that's the Renogy 3000 watt inverter charger. Comes with the one display. That's the control panel for the diesel heater, and I've also done the electric board. So we did the electric board before Christmas, and on the electric board we've got a DC to DC charger with an MPPT charger. We've got a consumer unit on there. We've got the 12 volt isolator and the solar isolator, and then we've got our 12 volt fuse board. That's all ready. That's just waiting for a lid, and the cushions can go on there. What else have I done? Oh, I've done the top part of the Solway section, and this bit. This was a bit tricky because of this fly net sort of part here. This wanted to sort of curl under. That was a little bit tricky, but got it done. Got this bit in. We've carpeted up top up there. So in the garage, this is what I was doing yesterday. I've laid the rubber matting down in the garage floor. We fitted the diesel heater. That's the 6 litre hot water system. Now I fitted that in the very first fan, the Boxer, and it's a fantastic little system because you've got 6 litres of hot water. Now there's no shower in this fan, so it doesn't need an absolute massive amount of hot water, but 6 litres, I know that system will boil a full tank in about 45 minutes, and it uses 9 amp hours to get that boiled. Now you think this is a 560 amp hour lithium battery in there, so he's got no problems with that getting boiled. I've also had it all on charge, so whenever you have a brand new lithium battery, you have a BMS, which is your battery management system, and you actually need to sort of charge and drain it down a bit and charge it a couple of times. It takes about 4 or 5 times for that BMS to fully calibrate and get that sort of accurate. I'm just in the middle of doing that, sort of using it throughout the day, turning the charge off, letting it drain. I'll probably use some of the inverter power as well, because that'll help us drain it just a little bit quicker. I think I've done that 2 or 3 times now, so we'll give that another go or 2, and that should be fully calibrated, ready for the customer. Today we're gonna be doing the diesel heater, so I've just been prepping everything. I've got the diesel pump, the diesel filter, that's the vent for the outside, and then that's the holder for the pump, some bits, the ducting. Now we're gonna be putting, bearing in mind the battery's out a minute because it's bloody heavy, but I've also been running cables right at the back where I'm going into the garage, but they're all run now, so that can actually get put in and get strapped in. And then the heater is going to sort of be in this area here. I like to do it at one end or the other, because when it blows out it will then heat the whole van, whereas if you do it in the middle, unless you have it blowing up, which is kind of pointless really, you want it blowing to the side and let it blow right up the van, and that'll get on nice and warm. Then we're going to get into the van in a bit and just get the fuel line done. Now I've already done the tap into the fuel sender, which you can see is just here, and there's a nipple to the side there. You've actually got a second one just there as well. So you drill through that, you put your sender in, which I'll show you what that looks like because I've got a spare one, and also I really like this one. It's one I kept going back to. I've got a few different types here, but this one is definitely the best one. Right, so this is the fuel sender, and the reason I like this one is from where it enters that sender, it's going to be here. There's a thread on the bottom. We get rid of that bolt, and if you drill a hole just smaller than the thread, this actually screws into it quite nicely. But then what I like is that the outlet for it is very low profile, because on the fuel sender in the van you don't have a great deal of space. And if you look at like some of the other ones, I got one beer, it's quite a bit higher, so this keeps it nice and low. And what we do, these are longer than they need to be. Let's bring it over here so you can see it. So you put it in the tank, and normally the top, it'll come out of the tank around here. So then I measure from the bottom of where it's going to touch the top to where it's sticking out. I know on this one it was 145 mil. I cut 175 mil off the bottom. I don't want to go in all the way to the bottom of the tank, because if the customer's using it and he's a little bit low on fuel, his heating could actually then take the last reserves of his diesel. So I always keep it a couple of inches just off the bottom, so that that's not going to happen. We've also, I don't know if I've showed you, we've got the new alloys on. Now the customer picked these and sent these here. Oz alloys, he's got the BFGs on them. I've put all 4 on. I'm just waiting for one of the mechanics down the road to come and torque set these for me. And we've taken the old alloys off, and they're actually for sale if anyone wants them. Emails in the description. You would have noticed we had this fan just before Christmas as well. This is actually our next fan, and Charlotte had been stripping it out. Came in over the weekend just to get some work done on it, so that Charlotte and my mate Martin's come in this week because he's a carpenter and he's going to do some work on here for me to get this moving. So I've come in, I've done 3 windows, and it's the same as the other van. He really liked them because they are super low profile. These are Cheshire Leisure vehicle windows. I've got one in the sliding door, I've got one opposite the sliding door, and he wants one in the rear. And then for skylights, we've got a Max fan at the front, and we've got the Max Air normal sort of skylight at the rear. This is what I put in the very first van. Well priced, I think that was 140 quid, and you also get the light surround, which will then match this light surround on the Max fan. Charles come in, she's done all the insulation. What we do is we use the PIR boards and do all the big open areas, and then any of these sort of small cuddy bits like this, we use this recycled plastic stuff. But yeah, where we can, we prefer to use the 25mm PIR board. Now, quite a lot of you have noticed over the last few months you've never seen me fit a Vapour Barrier, and I don't think I've talked about it and why I don't fit a Vapour Barrier. There's some really good reasons not to do it. Now I know it's a massive debate, so whenever I'm doing something, I want to know how it's done properly. So what I actually did was I went to several professional builders, you know, and I'm talking companies that have been going many years, done thousands of vans. They're doing very high-end vans, and I spoke to them about it, and not a single one of them use it, and they all gave me pretty much the same reasons as to why they don't use it. So what do we do to sort of resolve this? Okay, because the vapor and condensation happens in every single van, it happens in motorhomes, it happens in camper vans. We all suffer with it. There's things we do that help reduce it, but also help aid in getting it to sort of get out, okay, and that's venting. There's 2 ways we need to vent this fan, okay? You got your high level venting and your low level venting. So you get natural high venting through your Max fans. So British law, these have to have natural venting in them, so they're not actually sealed units. And then you also need low level venting. Now you do get a little bit of natural, sort of, I say natural, it's not natural, but you do get a little bit in the front cab, but we put gas drop vents in the actual rear end of the vehicle. So we always try and get one or two up front, and then 1 or 2 in the rear, and that'll give you your low level venting. And then when it comes to insulating the vans, yes, we tape them up and we use expanding foam. So the expanding foam's there for 2 reasons. That's for both gripping the PIR boards to stop them moving and squeaking against the metal, but the second is to obviously to try and help insulate just those awkward places where it's going to be stupid to try and get PIR boards in. But then what we do is when we foam around them is we leave air pockets. You can see one just there, there's one there, and that's a good example because there's no tape here yet, so we've insulated. And that's a good example because there's no tape here yet, so we've insulated. And behind there, that's all, she like creating a cavity then behind it, and that's allowing for airflow. So you can't stop condensation in a van, you're gonna get it, but there are things you can do to help reduce it, and it's all about venting. So you need to high level venting, low level venting, and making sure that when you're building these, when you're building your walls and you're insulating it, that you're not completely sealing off these panels, because you can't completely seal them. You are going to get condensation in there with any kind of vapor barrier, and all that vapor barrier is doing is trapping then the condensation that does get in. Yes, it might take longer to get in, but it's getting in, and you're just trapping it in then. You're not allowing then for it to escape and just having that nice airflow. And use another good example, I can put my finger right behind the panel. There's all gaps there, and that's done on every single one. Same as up here, we'll put a bit of foam in there, but I'll leave a nice gap there just to do the airflow. So that's why we don't do vapor barriers. I know it's a big debate whether or not you should or shouldn't do them. As I said earlier, I've spoken to people who've been building these a very long time, big companies, professionals. None of them put vapor barriers in, and how I've just explained it was how it was explained to me, is that you work to reduce and let it escape rather than trying to prevent in the first place, because you cannot prevent it. Good morning guys. So yesterday all went to plan. We got the diesel heater fitted, that's vented through the front, which is right by there. I also did the switch for the step, so now if I push on that, that's now working. And as I mentioned previously, if you turn the engine on while that steps out, that's also been programmed in. So if you turn the engine on, ignition live sends a signal to a relay, and that will then pull the step in. That's all done. I've got Martin here today, and he's doing some work on the boxer. He's currently doing the floor. So you can see it's been fully insulated. We've got the ply strips up on the roof. First two boards are down, and he's on the awkward one.
I just need a hand with this one.
Right, one sec. Let me set the camera down. Right.
I need you to lift that end, if you can. Yeah. So we come down square.
In fact, it looks like it needs to go that way a smidge. Your end, it needs to go that way a tiny amount. So he's got some tweaking. He's currently scribing around the wheel arches, so I'll leave him be. Our job today, now this is a first for me, they're quite straightforward. I have read the instruction manual, is the Remus blind kit. I've got the one here, that's going to go across the front, and then we'll do that one first because I know that's the awkward one. I've taken the front seat out because I was working with putting the fuel sender in, and then I thought I've still got the seat belt to put on it, which is here, so that should be a later today job or maybe in the morning. But I thought it'd just give me a nice bit of space there now while I'm working on the cab. And now the good thing is once these Remus blinds go on, 1, 2, 3, put the seat belt on that seat, refit that seat. That is this front section 100% done. So once that's done, we're then gonna move on, and I want to get the rear done. So all I've got to do is the 2 wall cabinets up here, and then I can put the bed in. That's all the electrics for the garage, is like a light. One's going off to the pump, one to the hot water, and I think there's a socket or 2 out here. And we're going to sort this toilet bit out, put the door on, because then that'll be the front and the rear done. And the only furniture we've got left to build in this van is a couple more wall units, drop the sink, tap and hob in, couple of frontals and the base for the bench. But that's next week's jobs. Today's job is fit these Remus blinds. I had to take the old ones off. Now to be fair, I actually had these already removed. They just pop out from when I was wiring in the reverse camera. You can see I've run the cables down that pillar there, and it's saying first thing we got to do is go get the speakers and fit them into here. Right, so the speakers are connected to a loom here. These were in the old ones, so it should just be a case of lift that up, and that's popped straight off. So on the speaker, where that connector is, the instructions are saying to fit that pointing up the trim, so it wants to fit in like that. I'll try and do this one-handed. Oh, there you are. That's popped in. Step 1 complete. That was quite straightforward. Now the second step is saying place pre-mounted left front system on the A pillar as shown, connect the cables to the speaker and clip into the slots. Well, if that is all it is, that'll be the easiest fit ever. But I know we've got these runner bars that have got to go on top and bottom, so I'm assuming these are the bits that are going to be a bit more fiddly. Okay, that was actually quite straightforward. So see these little sort of ribs here and here, they fit into these bits here, here and up here. So I'm going to repeat this on the second side, get the two mounted into place, and then we'll look at the next step. Okay, so a few head scratchy moments. I actually had to take the driver's side one back off because the rod that goes into this, on the one end, look, you've got like a coupler, but this one you actually have to screw it in from behind, whereas on the passenger side the screw is protruding from the actual machine, from the actual part, so that screws on that way. So that's done. So we've now got to put this one back on, but I think we need to connect those up to the rods inside the van first, and then we can clip this one back into place. The other thing I noticed as well is we've got these little parts here I had to put on, and basically that's like an extension part where it's going to push the top out a little bit because it was too tight on the headline and above. It now sits a lot nicer. Let's try and see if I can get this done. Right, a lot fiddlier than I thought they were going to be, but they are in. Now initially I put this post and this post in, but I actually had to take that one back out because you've got to thread the bar into that side, and then you have a screw come in on the inside on both the top and the bottom, and then they just joint here in the middle, and it sort of clips just up there. I don't know if you could see it. And then you have this trim piece that sort of slots in, and they give you these ridiculously large, they're like plasterboard screws that are supposed to go into the headline then, but I did use one in the middle because there was already a hole there for where like cables and that can go up. I put my own fixings in, a lot better. The sides literally couldn't have been any easier. I just had to pop these off, take all the clips out, and then there was one fixing that goes in around by here, and that was it. These just popped straight on, and that's done. Right, we've been at it again, building and not recording, so sorry. We promise when this fan is behind, so we're just on a sort of get this finished. We've got about a week left on it and it should be done. So we've done the base for this seat, got that lifted up. The cushions are here, they're just about to go to the upholsterers. I've done the toilet bit. This, to be fair, took me a lot longer than I expected. So I've got the top half is on one of the push hinges, and that folds down, and then this slides out. Now I've got the top half folding because when you're on the toilet, that is actually higher than the seat of the toilet, so I've done it so it can flip down, and that's then not going to catch on the back of your legs. We've also got a new guy working with us, John. He's here doing some of the carpentry work for me, just helping to get it to move along. So he's been doing the trims that are just covering up the corners. He's not done this one yet. He's done this one over here, but there is obviously wall cupboards going over all of these. But as I said before, I didn't like just looking at that in behind the cupboards, so we've done that just to make it look a bit neater even though it's inside the cupboards. We've got all the front solway sections on. He's just doing two finishing pieces up in the corners, and I'm currently now doing the wall units for here. So because everything at the front end of the van is completely finished, I want to get everything finished at the rear. So all I've got to do, fit the wall unit here, the cables there is for the 5G router, and then we can put the bed in, just plumb in the hot water and get that connected up to the expansion vessel, and a trim along the back here, and that will actually be the back end of the van finish. This van seems like it's taken ages. Probably didn't help because we decided to drive to Africa for Christmas, so we lost obviously 3 weeks in December as well, and I think we also got the new unit during this build, and we've done a lot of work over there, so sort of attention has been distracted. So it'd be nice to see this now, yeah, finally finished. I think we got about a week left. Once I've done that wall cabinet, we then got a microwave up here, wall cabinets along here, and a couple of wall cabinets to about here. That's then all the cabinetry built. We just got to do all the frontals, and I've also got the tambour door to put on by here, which is here. It actually came with something that was going to make my life a lot easier. So I was expecting to have to do some sort of custom way of it to be able to curl, but you get some straight pieces which are for the front, but then you get that. So when you do slide it up, it goes into a nice roll. Didn't think it was going to do that. I thought it was going to be like on the doors where it goes up and then it goes all the way back. And I was like, it'll hit the back end of the van. So I thought, what I'm going to have to do is like, I'll have to curl it myself, and I was going to get some timber and we were going to route some channels out. So I was well happy when that came. And then last but not least, we got the sink and the hob to do. The hob's here, we do need to order the sink. We'll get on that this week. And we're pretty much finished. So for now, currently on the wall cabinets, this is the one that's going, say, in the bedroom area. So that's going there. I had to do a little notch here, and that's for the jointing strip that's in the top. So this has all been trimmed and sanded. I'm going to take that in, get some measurements for the bottom piece, which is ready and waiting for here, but we'll have to do some depth cutting on that to get that nice, create our L shape, then we can get it fitted. Alright, so that's the frame in, but I've got to do the top. Now, because it's a 6mm ply, and then you've got this 3mm sort of card on it, what we're actually going to do is we're going to run a little batten inside and go through the roof rafters that go across. So I've got something solid to fix to, and then I'll pocket hole into the front of this, and that'll get it up nice and tight. So we'll do that, and then I've got an end panel to put on here. And yeah, that's ready for doors. I'll probably jump ahead and do the doors on these purely because I want to get, as I said earlier, I want to get this back done. This video's gone on long enough. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.